Hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night, all that stuff. It's been a couple of days. What up, what up, what up, what up? Hello, hello, hello. Here they come. Here comes the gaggle of assholes. The procession of assholes has started. Still waking up early? Yeah, every day. Well, earlier, you know what I mean, than I'm used to. But I think I've successfully rebooted my sleep schedule, so. The gnat's ass of assholes, yeah. I started that procession. Yeah, that's true. You got a point. Thank you, Oliver Close Off, for the buck, my friend. What a nice way to wake up. That $1 super chat, man. That's like a nice pat on the ass in the morning. Get out there and get the day started. Good morning, good morning. It's a pain in the ass to do, but it's something that I've had to do a lot. I used to have to do it all the time when I worked at Starbucks for a very long time, because while I was mostly an opener, I would have to work rotating shifts sometimes and have to fill in for weeks at a time closing, which means I'd have to go from a dude that was, on a sleep schedule where I was getting out of bed at 3:30 in the morning to be at work by 4:30 or 4, and somebody that didn't start work till noon or 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So when you're forced to work like that for a long period of time, you kind of develop the ability to swap on and off your sleep schedules. Where and why are you moving? We're not moving very far from where we are now. It's about a, 15, 20-minute drive from where we are now. Why? Because this place that we're staying at right now just doesn't work for multiple reasons. First and foremost, this area here that I'm sitting in, the garage is TJ and I's shooting area. And while it works pretty well for that, it floods every time it rains. So if it rains here, this room floods from the back to the front. So starting right back there. That's reason number one. Reason number two, there are rats in this place. Not just a rat that hangs around, but several rats. And they probably could be taken care of, but they haven't been. So tired of living with that bullshit. So there's that. There's the fact that there are just a lot of people in this house, and it's a big house, so I guess there's technically room, but maybe there's not enough room for people's personalities. I guess it's just we've been living on top of each other for a long time, and in kind of close quarters in a less than ideal situation. So I think that those are the reasons we're moving. Several rats. Yeah, like a gaggle of rats. Where do you hide the bodies? I mean, if I told you that, it wouldn't be a hiding place anymore, would it? Dinor, king of the rats, yeah. Paul tried to smother Scorty. Did I? Who's living in the house with you? I mean, do the math, dude. The rats will follow because of your filthy lifestyle. Yes, they're gonna follow, dude. They're going, oh, these guys are moving. We're definitely going with them. Get a rat U-Haul. Get your bits of straw and fluff from the nest and pack them in the rat U-Haul. We're moving 15, 20 miles away. Find the rat boss and defeat him. Yeah, that'd be, I mean, if that were like in my wheelhouse, I'd have done it already, man. Like if I was the type of dude that could, I ran outside with it and I chucked it as far as I could. Because I'm a soft-hearted piece of shit. Even when it comes to a rat, like it was squeaking and shit. Like I can't kill something like that. You know what I mean? I don't want it in my house, but I can't kill the motherfucker. So it's just a bad situation, you know? Just a bad thing. I flung it. Yeah, I flung that motherfucker as far as I could chuck it. Oh no, I didn't kill it. Trust me, it's back. Yeah, I mean, I would look. I'm not. I'm not wired that way. It's fine that people are. You know, people that do what they got to do are able to go into that like I'm gonna kill a little furry rodent with my bare hands mode or whatever the fuck. Like, you know what I mean? I just am not wired that way. Should have boiled it alive. Yeah, that'll learn it. Yeah, trust me, it didn't break its legs. I'm pretty sure that same exact rat has been back in the house multiple times. Tame them and call. Yeah, dude, I need to get like a flute like the Pied Piper had. Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do, man? Like, I was planning on killing it too. When I had it, when I got it in my hands, I was gonna, you know, like the idea was just smash this fucking thing. And all the way in the build up to catching it, that's what you believe you're gonna do. Once you got it in your hands and you hear it squeaking and trying to escape and shit, it's just like, oh man, I can't do this. If it's got like a little nest of baby rats somewhere that just like starved to death because mom never comes home, you know what I mean? Like, oh, god damn it. God damn it. Can't you make your nest somewhere else, you motherfucker? The old bag and hammer, yeah. I mean, I was gonna, you know, like get it in the blanket and then, you know, wrap it up real tight in the blanket and then slam the blanket against the ground and shit. Like, that was the plan, was to kill this motherfucker. Like I said, dude, once I heard it scream for its little rat life when I had it in my hands, desperately trying to get away, like, no, please don't kill me, squeak, squeak, squeak. I was just like, man, I can't do this. I can't. I can't do it, man. How many times did it bite you? It probably tried a bunch of times, but it never was able to get a chomp on me. Squee, squee, squee. Did I see some of myself in its eyes? Yeah. I heard some of my own desperation and confusion in its little squeak. You know, it squeaked, and I heard myself and my mom and, you know, just everybody I've ever known and loved, all screaming and pleading for their lives, and I just couldn't. I couldn't hang. I couldn't hang with it. I just got a notification for this. Yeah, it happens. What are you gonna do, man? YouTube is like actively working against its creators for the most part. So, what are you gonna do, man? Hey, I've got people that have subscribed to me, right? So these are people that clearly want to know what's going on with me. These are not just casual observers that have watched me in the past. These are like people that have taken the time to subscribe. And we can't handle getting them an alert that lets them know that this person that they've subscribed to is live until they've been live for 10 or 15 minutes. It's ridiculous. What are you going to do, though? I mean, I think it's going to be a while yet before YouTube keels over. Paul, you're a faggot. You were wrong about Conan versus Black Widow, but I love you anyway. Hey, man, whatever. It was a hard argument. and I stood for what I believed in. And hey, man, if you think I was wrong, then that's fine, I guess. But I'm pretty sure I covered most of the bases in all those fights, man. I was considering the shit that the plebs in the audience were not even thinking of, man. Not even thinking of. Why is it when a woman gets a vibrator, it's considered normal, but when a guy orders a Fuckmaster 5000 with a 400-watt elastic pulsating vagina with a semen drip tray, it's considered perverted? I mean, I think it's just way easier for women to masturbate, right? So there's less ritual involved with it. Like they can just get a little thing, put it on their clit, and they're coming, right? Like dudes, we have to have this big obscene hole that we have to fuck. You know what I mean? We've got to have like a rubber pussy, on the end of a fleshlight, or a fake silicone mouth, or some kind of greased up hole. You know what I mean? It's just grosser and more obtrusive. You know what I mean? Like women, yeah, I know. Like women sometimes need a dildo too, so they get a dildo going. But even that, you know what I mean? It's not a sloppy, greased up hole. You know what I mean? Well, I get that. Yeah, like I said, some women need like penetration or whatever the fuck, so they get a dildo vibrator. I mean, whatever the fuck, it's still like less gross than a big, sloppy, greased up hole. You know what I mean? Just a silicone hole, silicone fuck sleeve. You know. Good morning, Paul. Hope you have a great day. Keep on rocking in the free world. Okay, I'll do that. Hey there, Dinor. Are you here for your 5 minutes of fame? Everybody see. Everybody want to see you. You want to make sure everybody can see you. You have such a handsome haircut, boy. Um, we're gonna have to work this out, homie, because this is not working for Dad. You gotta get down. You gotta get down. You gotta go. Go on. Go on. Go. All right. You gotta go. Whew. Dinor just decided he was gonna take over the show. Why art thou rejecting me, Father? Paul turns into a Jamaican woman when he talks to do I? Yeah, quit showing your wiener off, man. Nobody. I couldn't see what you guys could see, but I'm assuming everybody just got a full blown wiener shot, which nobody wants to see your weenie. These people didn't show up to see your weenie. Huh? You show everybody your weenie. How often do you brush your teeth? Every day. Every day. So I shower twice a day. When I shower, I brush my teeth. That's part of my shower. Do you think Galileo isn't dead like Tupac? I thought you were talking about Galileo from League of Legends for a second. I was like, yeah. I mean, I don't know what he's doing now, but nobody used to play him back when I played. You're making him self-conscious. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's okay. Nobody's making fun of your wiener. Nobody's making fun of your wiener. See, he feels better now. So, have you guys heard that the manatee exposed me? I guess I can talk about it here because this is just my offhanded channel. But I've been exposed, dude. He made a video recently. I haven't seen the video, but people linked me to it. where he claims that he's exposed me, that I secretly have children, that I'm not impotent, and that I secretly have children. And his proof for this is that he found some pictures of me on YouTube by creep stalking my ex-wife or one of my friends. And he found a picture of me with some kids. So that must mean they're my kids. Nobody's ever appeared in a Facebook picture with children that they didn't birth. So it's just ridiculous. So yeah, I guess I have to just come clean, guys. I secretly have a bunch of kids. I'm not impotent at all. I, you know, I've had child after child after child after child, and abandoned them all so that I could, move away with TJ to smoke weed for a living. So, yeah, this is kind of awkward. I feel like I've been caught in a pretty big lie. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't even know. Like, and here's the thing, Brett's so fucking inept. It could be any number of different kids. Like it could be, like, I have five sisters. In the video, he goes, Paul's ego has no siblings, so these can't be cousins or nieces or nephews. All right, let's say that that's true. Okay? Let's say that it's true, which it isn't, that I don't have siblings. I actually have five sisters, and all of them have children. But let's say it's true. Let's give the manatee that. Okay? Let's say that I don't have any sisters. I don't have any nieces. I don't have any nephews. I was married. So, what about the possibility that my ex wife has siblings and they have children? Which she does, and they do. That never comes into the manatee's brain. The manatee's a one track person. So, because it's me, I'm the only angle he considers. So yeah, that's the beauty of this fail, is that I don't even know, like, if they were actual biological niece and nephew pictures or if they were my ex-wife's niece and nephew. I don't know. But that's fucking I just think it's hilarious, dude. The manatee is desperate. He desperately wants me to cover him. Yeah, he can't decide if he wants to make fun of me for being impotent or if he wants to expose me for having secret children. Yeah, he can't really make his mind up. Oh, he's desperate for attention. But I mean, the biggest fail there is, like, Paul Ziegler doesn't have any brothers or sisters. Like, five sisters. Five. All of them with children. At least one child apiece. In fact, only one of them has only one child. All four of the other sisters have at least two. My biological sister has six. Six children. So, yeah, I've talked about my sisters on the show over and over and over again. Like, it's a big part of a lot of my stories that I've told over and over and over again on the show and here and on other places. You know what I mean? Like, everywhere I go, I've told these stories, and a lot of them involve my sisters. I've talked about them extensively, constantly. Why are people having so many kids? That's a great fucking question. Why don't I have kids? Because it turns out I can't. Isn't it shocking? I hate hearing about family. It reminds me that I have none. Yeah, I've got a big, pretty big immediate family. Six is quite a lot. I don't even think she's done either, to be honest with you. I could see, I could see my sister having 10 kids. Do you really want kids now as you get older? No, no. Yeah, I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if that sister ended up having 10 kids. I love DFF, and somebody says, "Holy shit, 10 kids! Is she loaded at least?" I mean, I wouldn't say loaded, but she, they make enough money to take care of that brood. Paul, I love DFF, and I'm happy you guys took this podcast in a totally different direction. It was the change we needed. Well, I'll tell you what, dude. It was the change that we needed, and when I say we, I mean the cast members, my fellow cast members, and I. We were just kind of tired of the formula and wanted to shake things up and wanted to free ourselves up to do different things and to have shows that were just wildly tonally different. And I understand the show's in its infancy right now. We're trying out a lot of different angles on the same type of content. So you've seen a lot of list shows. That's because it's an idea that all of us really like, and we're kind of refining how we do them to try and come up with some standards going forward for that kind of content. So what you guys are kind of seeing in Deep Fat Fried is a podcast that's in its infancy, right? It's really starting to get its legs. It's really kind of figuring out what it is tonally, what it is topically, what the barriers, if any, are on it, what the constraints are, what kind of shows we can do, what kind of shows we want to do. Like, these are all things that we're in the process of still figuring out when it comes to Deep Fat Fried. So it's a very, very much a new show, a baby show. But you say never stop trying new things. I mean, that's one of the points of having a platform like Deep Fat Fried. It was designed from the ground up. It was conceived of from the ground up to confer options upon us in terms of what we deliver. Maximum like options. We did not want to pigeonhole ourselves into anything formulaic. We wanted to be able to change up, cover whatever we wanted with whatever tone that we wanted. I mean, we really wanted to free ourselves up to find the niche. I think that the grenade launcher Ripley had would instantly vaporize Black Widow. That's just one of the things. I mean, you got to realize that pulse rifle that she's carrying, that's not just a machine gun. That's like a tungsten particle accelerator cannon or some shit. It's a futuristic gun. I mean, it would literally cut somebody in half. I mean, you've seen what it does to the xenomorphs. Xenomorphs are kind of hard on the outside. They've got a hard exoskeleton. She shoots them with one of those things. They just turn into a puddle of mist. So we're not even just talking about the grenade launcher, which itself is incredibly powerful, right? We're talking about the fucking pulse rifle. That pulse rifle is one of the baddest ass weapons in movies. The sound effect used for it is amazing. Just the conception of it as this super rapid firing futuristic machine gun that's flinging these, uranium slugs or whatever it is, tungsten, at super high velocities, at a super high fire rate. Yeah, I think that the pulse rifle is a mass tungsten driver, but I'm not sure. But either way, we've seen what it can do. I mean, it just literally turns an alien into soup. It doesn't fill them with bullet holes and then they fall over and bleed out. They get hit with a burst from a pulse rifle and they turn into soup. So you gotta take that type of shit into, I think a lot of times people aren't thinking of that. Like when we were doing the show, a lot of people were pulling for Black Widow, and I see why. She's got, strength and agility and speed beyond a normal human. She's augmented, and she's got the gauntlets, and she's got this. But they're not taking into account a lot of the other stuff, man. That's why Ripley belonged on the list. That's why she ran the whole losers bracket. From round one, she just absolutely dominated the losers bracket all the way to the end. And the reason for that is because there's a little something more to her than just being a trained good fighter. Yeah, she doesn't have that going for her, but she's got tenacity and she's got tools. And those two things go a long way. DFF top 10 musicians who died in plane crashes. Oh, that's easy, dude. Richie Valley, dude. He's the number one. Nah, Widow dominated it for chat. For the pool, too. I don't know about the pool joke, but yeah, I know that. Look, the chat was clearly pulling for Widow last night. Who's Ridley? It's Ripley. From Alien, dude. Ellen Ripley. Uh, It'd be cool to pick groups like the Colonial Marines against each other. Yeah. I mean, like, the Colonial Marines or, the Defense Forces from fucking Starship Troopers, right? Like, which futuristic army unit would win? I mean, I think we know who beats the fucking Stormtroopers. The Colonial Marines have got tactics and training and shit. The Stormtroopers are like a bunch of monkeys trying to fuck a coconut. Like, they just run around and get shot. You know what I mean? You can tell that their training is very minimal when it comes to, like, combat, you know? At least in the earlier movies. I guess in the newer movies, they've kind of upped the status of your average Stormtrooper. But in the older movies, man, they're just a bunch of inept, bucket-headed retards. Never hit anything, just stand there and get shot. Paul, that just shows how little you know about Star Wars, man. Why is there always one of you fucking salty-ass faggots around, dude? Swinging from my ball bag. Everything I bring up, there's some smug faggot out there in the chat. Like, why? Why is there always one of you stupid, salty fucking faggots out there? Please go away. They should give stormtroopers weapons that cause massive explosions. No, because then they just kill each other. Like, if you gave stormtroopers, like, early, like, original trilogy stormtroopers grenade launchers, they would just blow themselves up. Yeah, they really do need shotguns. They need point and click weapons. Those laser rifles that they give them as standard issue, they are way too precise. They've got to aim and stuff. It just ain't working. I agree with that. They need some kind of futuristic fucking scattergun. So where they just have to be kind of vaguely pointing the end of the weapon in the vague direction of where the enemy might be, and still could score a hit or two. Yeah, that's what they need. You're absolutely right. If I was in charge of the Empire, that would be my first fucking decree, dude. If I became Emperor Palpatine, I'd turn around on my rotating throne and I would say, take all the laser rifles from every stormtrooper and give them a shotgun immediately. I want to see my stormtroopers hitting people with their guns. Hicks had a shotgun. That is true. That is true. It's a good little backup to have. How'd they take over if they can't aim for shit? That's a great question, man. I don't know. I guess the rebels aim even worse. Maybe just superior numbers. I don't know. I guess that's definitely part of their strategy. They've definitely got the numbers advantage over the rebellion. I've seen some feedback on the latest show. People just don't like this type of list video. And, like, I hate to say it, but, if you're one of those, you might want to just unsubscribe. Because Yeah, there are people that are just like, it's just stupid. A bunch of people sitting around for 2 hours talking about nothing, just fantasizing about who would win in a fight. It's stupid, pointless content. And it's like, well, I mean, if that's the way you feel about it, then you're probably better off going and finding something else to watch. Because few things are more fun to me than letting my imagination run wild in a scenario like that. I love, the idea of taking these hypotheticals and pitting these characters against one another and trying to cover all the angles and really investing time in talking about these characters as they compare to one another. And you find parallels too. Like, I never would have off the top of my head put John McClane and Ellen Ripley together and said, wow, there's a lot of parallels between these characters because they're very different. They're in very different films, right? But putting them in the context of this list, it made me realize how many similarities there are amongst movie badasses, right? I mean, I knew that there were similarities going in, but just how deep those similarities go, that's something that I learned last night, just organically while we were sitting and talking about these characters. So, who would win in a fight, Jeffrey Dahmer or John Wayne Gacy? As I understand it, Jeffrey Dahmer was not a super physically fit guy and kind of relied on subterfuge, whereas Gacy relied on preying on people that were not as strong as him. So I think that Gacy takes that right off the bat, right? Is Gacy would overpower someone that was not as strong as him, and Dahmer was more of a like poison somebody and eat them type of guy, or sneakily kill somebody and eat them. Gacy versus Dahmer, winner gets to fuck the corpse. I mean, yeah, they'd probably go after it just for that. Yeah, maybe poison's not a great idea. Paul, please, I need to know. Do you believe in a phaliocentric universe? I don't even know what the fuck that is. Do you see Steven Seagal endorse Bitcoin? No. No, I haven't seen that. Top 10 serial killers. Yeah, that'd be an interesting episode. Would not be shocked. What do you think of that faggot Ben Shapiro? I don't. Frollo, frollo, lo, 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 frollo, lo, 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 frollo, lo, 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 frollo, lo, 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 lo. Fucking Frollo fans, man, need to go away. What's that from? I don't know. It's like an old classic opera piece, isn't it? That. Yes, which opera? Prove you're not uneducated. I have no idea. The Barber of Seville. There you go. Marriage of Figaro. There you go. There you go. Figaro. Paul, is TJ serious about getting a gun? I think so, yeah. Do you still hate Milo Yiannopoulos? I never hated Milo Yiannopoulos. In fact, I kind of have, a little bit of begrudging respect for his persona and the way that he presented himself. Need to ban all black people from owning handguns on pain of execution. That's just dumb. That's just dumb, director. Director's one of these dudes that'll like hit you up on Twitter and want to debate with you and shit, and then he just says dumb shit. And you're like, oh, do you want to have a dumb debate? Who do you hate more, Milo or Andy Worski? I mean, I think Andy Worski's a less talented individual all around, a less, you know, compelling personality, a less interesting figure from top to bottom. Would be cool to do fictional people versus jigsaw traps. Oh, jigsaw. Yeah, taking like just take the list we had last night and put them in a jigsaw maze. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of interesting. Milo is a hack. He shills pills for Infowars now. Well, I mean, you got to pay the fucking bills, right? I mean, I'll be honest with you. If Alex Jones came to me and he was like, Paul's Ego, I want to do a supplement. I want you to do Paul's Ego, I don't know, what would you call it? Zegofil. Yeah, that's what it's going to be called. Zegofil. The new male supplement for fat people. I'd be like, done. Where do I sign this contract, Mr. Jones? Did you watch Black Panther? Yeah, I've seen Black Panther. Did you do it just for publicity? I'd do it just for the experience. Like, yeah, I'd go. I mean, maybe I wouldn't enter into some like long deal to shill some fucking product for Alex Jones on just for free. You know what I mean? But I'd definitely do, just for the experience. I'd do some of it. Milo has been on the Alex Jones show again lately. He hosted it. Well, there you go. He's found his new home. How the mighty have fallen, man. He went from Breitbart, this, I guess, albeit right wing, but yeah, relatively respected, slanted news outlet covering real news and real politics, to a show that talks about how Obama is literally a demon, and how Hillary's a lizard person, and how chemtrails and are turning the frogs gay, and you know what I mean. He's definitely he's definitely moved up in the world. That is true. I mean, he's a pretty good fit for the Infowars brand, I think, because he really was more about the flourish. Paul, why did DP really break up? All right, it was Atlantic City. Okay, I'm not gonna say who, but one of the original three cast did some horrible things in Atlantic City, and let's just say that there are a lot of bodies involved, and it just, the weight of that. I mean, how do you keep going? This is what it bugged about him, though. Everybody thought it was he was some sort of intellectual or something. I mean, whatever. He was a flamboyant arguer. You know what I mean? That was. I don't think he really presented himself as some super intelligent guy. Although I guess there were people that put him up on that pedestal, like he was like a philosopher of note or something. Who's Milo? Who's Milo? grow your hair out again. Yeah, probably to the length it was before I cut it this time. I mean, maybe in a few years I'll grow it long again, but I'm definitely done with that for a while. I've had my fun with the long hair. I think as soon as the right sees a gay or tranny that supports their bigoted views, they jump on it and say, hey, this guy is gay and he agrees. That's probably true. Steven Seagal didn't endorse Bitcoin. He endorsed some shady Ponzi like BitConnect. Oh, okay. So some new IPO. You look good with short hair. Yeah. I mean, I think that like whatever I'm working with, which is not much, is suited by having a shorter hairstyle. I don't think I tend to look a little bit, I don't know, weird all the time, but with long hair, I think it just adds a layer of weirdness to the way I look. You a Howard Stern fan? Yes, I am. I wasn't able to really get into Howard Stern until he made the move to Sirius XM because he just was never syndicated where I lived for very long. But I got a Sirius radio in my car in 2006 and started listening to Howard Stern every day. I did a lot of driving for my job at that time, so I would spend a lot of time on the road between sites, and all I would do is listen to Howard 100, Howard 101. I loved listening to all the old classic shows. I just really like the Stern Show. It's one of the most imitated shows ever in terms of not just radio shows but podcasts and any type of entertainment show where you've got multiple people having a conversation has taken some influence from the Howard Stern Show at some point. It's just one of those foundational things, and it's just a great setup. Get a bunch of interesting characters in a room together and pick on them constantly and force fights between them and arguments and kind of sit back and laugh at that. That's basically the Stern MO, or it used to be. It's not anymore. Howard Stern's a very different show now. The surname Parkey means kinsman of Peter. Well, there you go. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. The 9/11 episode is one of the best radio broadcasts of all time. That is true. I mean, it's totally mesmerizing to listen to because you hear the whole thing unfold live, and I mean, they find out about it live, and while everybody else was evacuating these downtown buildings and shit for fear that more planes were on the way, Howard and his entire crew stayed up in the K Rock studios and broadcasted and presented the news as it happened all day. And he was really kind of the eyes and ears on the ground of the average person in New York. And he was really doing a service by doing that to the people of New York too, because it gave them somewhere that they were familiar with to turn to hear what was going on, to hear, and it gave them the opportunity to laugh a few times and to kind of maybe tear their eyes for a few seconds away from the horror. So it really was an important radio broadcast. Get out of here. Phaliocentric universe, so it revolves around dicks. No, I don't believe in that. Sorry. It's one of the next champion tournaments. You ought to compare wizards like yeah. I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you a little behind the scenes info. Gandalf was actually on the list all the way up until the beginning, or all the way up until the end. He got bumped. I don't remember exactly who bumped him, but I started to have misgivings about putting him on the list because I thought his power level was a little outside everybody else's. Um, but we were making pretty good arguments for keeping him on the list all the way till the end before we went live. Because he's one of those hard ones to pin down. But yeah, Gandalf almost made it to that round of the Tournament of Champions. It would have been Gandalf versus Batman. I think you're definitely right about that. Um, isn't he basically a god? Yeah, I mean, you've got to take Gandalf for what he is as a character in totality. So he starts off as Gandalf the Grey, already incredibly powerful, part of the Wizard Council, you know. So, but after he defeats the Balrog and almost dies in the process, he comes back as Gandalf the White. And in that form, he's way more powerful. That's like Super Saiyan Gandalf, you know what I mean? So, you, which one would we put up against Batman? You know what I mean? Because I think it would be almost just unfair to put him up against Gandalf the White. But I think putting him up against Gandalf the Grey, who's already, once again, super powerful in his own right, able to kill the Balrog, so a great one-on-one fighter, right? Um, all kinds of magical tricks. So he's got, like, Batman's got the gadgets, but Gandalf has got magic. So it's like those things kind of cancel each other out. Well, that's what I'm saying. Gandalf in any form. I don't know if he'd fuck on everybody in that list, but he definitely, I think, had an advantage, which is why I think he got bumped from the list. For sure. In fact, I think he was bumped in favor of Conan, because we wanted to have a representative of that fantasy universe, but, you know, that kind of fantasy setting. But we felt that Gandalf was just a little too powerful. Also, we were pretty close to having Ryu from Street Fighter on the list as well. He got bumped in favor of somebody else, but we really wanted to try and have a video game character thrown into the mix too, since we're doing all these fictional characters. And we settled on Ryu because you know, we felt like he's like he's like the prototype video game fighter guy, right? Everybody knows Ryu from Street Fighter. You know, even within the game that he's in, he's kind of the baseline, right? Jack of all trades kind of character, the face of the Street Fighter franchise. So I think he would have been interesting to throw into that mix too. But once again, you know, you can't have everybody with this type of bracket. You really do have to kind of narrow it down to 8 to make it even feasible to do in a show. You think about it, if we doubled that bracket and made a 16, you know, a 16 bracket, that show would have been 6 hours long. You know what I mean? Gandalf the Grey wasn't really that powerful in terms of raw power. He only defeated the Balrog by suicidal tactics. I mean, yeah, but he defeated the Balrog. You're gonna say somebody like, yeah, he barely won. But you're gonna say somebody that beat the Balrog 1v1 is not all that powerful? Get the fuck out of here, kid. Get the fuck out of here. Seriously. Have you seen the Balrog? So yeah, because he used some crazy tactics and almost died in the process, that makes him not all that strong. Yeah, he smote his fucking ruin upon the mountain. Smote his ruin upon the mountaintop. I mean, he fucking 1v1. He 1v1'd the Balrog, okay, by jumping off the bridge of Khazad-dûm, riding it all the way into the fucking bowels of the mines of Moria, right? Whatever's down in the dark pits at the very bottom of that, all that soupy water and shit, fought the fucking Balrog 1v1 in the absolute darkness in waist-deep water, and then fought him all the way back up as they climbed up back all the way to the top of fucking Moria, fought the Balrog 1v1, and then once they got to the very fucking top pinnacle outside on the top peak of what constitutes, the Mines of Moria, he smote his fucking ruin on the mountainside. There is absolutely no way you're going to tell me that that's not a powerful dude. Sorry. Yeah, they're fighting down in the pit, and they battled all the way up through the secret passages and stairways and grand galleries of Moria, all the way to the very fucking top lookout tower on the highest peak. That's powerful. That's too powerful to be on last night's list. They got up to the top of the mountain because the Balrog ran from him. Yeah, good point. He had the Balrog on the run. 1v1. No help. It wasn't like Gandalf plus the army of Gondor against the Balrog. It was Gandalf the Grey with his stick and his sword versus the fucking Balrog. Come on, dude. He's definitely, I would call him, like, close to a demigod after the Gandalf the White fight. He's just a super powerful wizard before that, right? But after the Gandalf the White fight, it's like I said, it's like Gandalf went Super Saiyan. Like, he unlocked his true potential, in that fight. Fuck tactics, just raw force head first. I mean, if that's a critique, I would say that Gandalf displayed extremely good tactics in that Balrog fight. I mean, what he did, falling with the Balrog, provided the opportunity for the rest of the team to get away. Fly, you fools, so there were tactics there. And the tactic was to tie this fucking beast up for long enough for his friends to get out and hopefully survive himself. Right. It's in the books he wasn't as big, right? He was about the size of a large man, wreathed in flame, as you said, but still a demon, still an otherworldly force, right? A demon from the old world. Festering in the bowels of Moria. Gandalf does have the best weed in all the Shire, dude. When he shows up to chill with Bilbo, and they're up there on the hillside, and in the movie, well, they do it in the book as well. And I mean, dude, Gandalf is not only blowing the best weed in Middle Earth, but he's got all them tricks too. Motherfucker can take a big old fat rip and then blow a ship. Got the best smoking utensil, dude. The Gandalf pipe. I mean, he's got it going on. He's got it going on. Yeah. That's just part of the way that I'm made up, dude. Like, I love taking fictional characters seriously. I love us, giving those fictional characters the benefit of the doubt and talking about hypotheticals that involve them and really considering them as actual living things in doing so, considering their psyches and their motivations and their ability levels and the way that they use tactics. I mean, it's a fun thing, and there are going to be people that think that that's a total waste of time, and that's fine. But I'm just not wired that way, man. It's what makes being into fiction fun. Is taking those characters and making your own things with them, right? Seem like someone who would like D&D. I know I would. I just never had the opportunity. And you got to be passionate when you have those kinds of conversations too, especially when you're dealing with a character that you really, really like, that you revere, And when it comes to badasses, I got to be honest with you, Ellen Ripley is near the top of my heap. I'm not saying she'd beat everybody. The bracket played out how it did, but you know what I mean? Like she's probably my favorite. She's the badass at the center of my favorite film of all time. Hmm. I'm a fucking giant lauder nerd. I learned English to read Lord of the Rings. Well, there you go. I mean, I've read, the Lord of the Rings a bunch of times. I'm a nerd for that level of fiction, but I've never really done the deep dive into Tolkien's lore and stuff. I've read the Silmarillion outside of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, but that's it. And I didn't really retain a whole lot of the information in the Silmarillion, to be honest with you. I don't have access to all that kind of encyclopedic lore knowledge when it comes to the stuff. But I've got a very kind of broad overview of, the books as they unfold. I've read those many, many times. Morgoth. I think Morgoth was like not a person, right? Morgoth was like a kingdom, right? Like an ancient area of the world, if I'm not mistaken. Because the Balrog was from Morgoth. He's the Balrog of Morgoth, right? So, okay, so Morgoth was the first Dark Lord. Okay, so that makes sense. I didn't really read the Silmer. It's been years, dude. I read it when I was a teenager, so you'll have to forgive me. Do you acknowledge the fact that communism is the best economic system? Well, I didn't remember his fucking name, dude. Like I said, I read the fucking Silmarillion when I was like 14 years old. I'm now 38, so you'll have to, well, 37. You'll have to forgive me. Sauron, yeah, Sauron's master. Yeah, I'm older than you by a little chunk, dude. What do you think about the recent school shooting? I don't know. I'm just tired of talking about the school shootings and shit. Because what are you gonna say? It's horrible. It's terrible. It's embarrassing. It's sad that we live in a fucking modern country that won't address this problem. Blah 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 blah. But in America, like one of the pitfalls to this argument is that it happens so often that you're just desensitized to it as an American. You hear there's a school shooting. Like I remember when fucking Columbine happened, it was like the world ended, right? Everybody was talking about it. Schools closed nationwide for days on end. Um, Now it's barely a blip on the radar. It's like it's something you hear in passing. Like that's how I heard about the school shooting. I just overheard TJ and Scotty mention it as they were walking by a room, and I was like, "Oh, there was a school shooting today. Oh, check it out. Yeah, school shooting." That's what it's been reduced to in America because it just happens so often that it's just kind of like par for the course. It's like a monthly ritual for us that there's going to be a mass shooting somewhere. And yet we absolutely refuse to do anything but argue. Flags fly at half mast at the schools. Yeah. I mean, that's the way I figure out I find out that these things happen. I'll be driving around, I'll see a flag at half mast, and I'll go, "What happened?" And I'll, pull my phone out and look at something, and there we go. Everyone dropped the ball, and it was horrible. Pretty much end of story. I mean, yeah. What do you want to say about it? all the CNN coverage and debates, but it's only mentioned in passing. Yeah, well, solutions are only mentioned in passing, and they're only argued about. We're just unwilling to take, try anything different than our current system. And the argument for guns really does boil down to, well, I really like having access to guns. Well, that's great. I'm happy for you. You picked a cool hobby, and I don't really want to take that from you as long as you're, willing to demonstrate that you have the mental capability and the sense of responsibility to own a gun. I'm fine with you having your gun and taking it out and shooting it and having a good old time. I want to keep people that are not mentally stable from getting guns, and I want to know who has the guns. So if somebody starts stockpiling guns for a plan, that, authorities have something to go off of. What about the tyranny argument for guns? I've addressed this before. I think it's one of the silliest pro-gun arguments. The idea that in modern times with our modern military, that the average citizen is going to stand up to a tyrannical government that orders the army against its own people is fucking silly. The idea that, once again, that people are going to mass together and overthrow the government with their, personal guns is silly. It's just a silly argument. It's like the argument like an 8-year-old boy would make for guns. You know what I mean? You gotta shoot the bad guys. Gee whiz, if the good guys don't have guns, then the bad guys have all the power. And it's like, well, number one, the bad guys already have all the power. They have all the guns. They have better than guns. So that happened a long time ago. It's just a very, very weak argument, and I think that pro gun people need to throw it away. The constitutional argument is similarly weak. It's called the Second Amendment because it was added to the Constitution, which is a document that is designed to be changeable. So this idea that the Second Amendment is some wholly untouchable, unchangeable part of a document that's meant to change and with the times, the constitutional argument holds zero water for me. So really, it does boil down to like, I want my gun because I like to have my gun, and that's fine. Like I said, I don't have a problem with people having guns in context, but Constitution is not the goddamn gospel. No, it's not. And it wasn't designed to be. I mean, the people that wrote it were at least intelligent enough to put a facility for it to be changed in there because they realized that 200 years from now, the world is probably going to look very different. But there are these people that have just strictly stuck to this idea that the Constitution is immutable and unchangeable, and reinterpretations of the Constitution with modern things in mind are just the highest evil. We should all be governed by a document that was made to govern people that had flintlock pistols and walked around with wooden fucking fake teeth and powdered wigs on their heads and shit. I mean, if you were transported back to colonial America to the time, around the first Constitutional Convention, it would be unrecognizable in terms of their society structure, their day-to-day lives. It's just nothing like what we do. And this idea that that document written at that time should be this unchanging thing that we all live our lives by now is a religious argument. It's not an argument for guns. It's an argument for treating the foundational document of this country as if it was some kind of religious text that can't be changed or reinterpreted. It's not the word of God. It's the word of a bunch of revolutionaries at the dawn of our fucking country at a time that was, like I said, totally unrecognizably different from now. So A popular revolt would succeed against the U.S. military for various reasons, but I don't see. Well, here's the thing: the only way that it succeeds is if there is a way for it to be cohesive, right? There's no way that just people going, "I'm going to get my gun and run into the street and fight the government." That doesn't win. So there would have to be this massive kind of network of people, right? All of them working together. It's completely un-American to think of that. The idea of a bunch of Americans submitting their will to one person in a kind of a rebellion. We can't even agree on which fucking cereal is the best. Like we can't even agree on whether or not Black Panther is a good movie or a bad movie. You're telling me that like all these rebels are going to coordinate and work together to overthrow this highly trained, highly armed military force with force multiplication way beyond their capabilities. I mean, we're talking Hellfire drones, missile or drones with Hellfire missiles and fucking helicopters and you know what I mean? Bull fucking shit. That's just stupid. It's stupid. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy to think that that's going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Sorry. You can't put two random Americans in a room together and get them to agree on a fucking thing. We are argumentative, self-serving, narcissistic people by nature. We all think that we've got the best answer to every fucking problem. And there is no way that a loosely based, like a loosely tied together group of rebels is going to outperform the American military and win a victory. It's just not going to happen. It's a fantasy. That's a lot of Second Amendment advocates and pro-gun advocates like to think of themselves as the man with the white hat. I'm fighting for freedom and liberty. And that's exactly what everybody else is going to be doing. If the government goes too far, all these freedom and liberty fighters are going to step up. But that's not what these people are really about. Not when the chips are down, man. When the chips are down, they're self-serving, they're self-preserving, they're not going to work together, and they're going to get cut through like paper by the American military. They'll be fractured, unorganized, unwilling to work together, incapable of working together, and that's it. That's why the American military was designed. It was designed to take your average person that's unwilling to take direction, that's unwilling to listen to authority, and reprogram them into a person that listens to authority as a primary action. The first thing on their mind is, what are my orders? You're putting those two forces against each other, and you're telling me that the dumb bunch of rednecks with shotguns and AR-15s is going to beat that? Nope, sorry. Wrong. That's not the primary goal of the military. That's the primary goal of military training. And if you want to argue about this, I'll argue till the fucking day is done. The primary goal of military training is not necessarily teaching you how to fucking fire a gun. That's a tertiary thing that you learn in military training. The primary goal of military training is to make your mind soft so that you will listen without questioning to authority. Because that's the only way that you're useful as a soldier. You are not useful as a soldier if your commanding officer orders you to go take that building and you decide you don't want to kill people. You decide, no, I don't think that's the best tactical option right now. I'm here on the ground and the general's telling me, hey, go over there and take that building, but I don't think that's the best tactical option, man. I ain't doing that. You're not useful as a soldier if you question authority. You're just not. So that is the absolutely primary goal of military training. When you go into basic training, it is to program your mind to be unquestioning of authority. Absolutely 100%. That's the goal. And you can fuck off if you think different. If you're going to, I don't care if you're a military dude, if you're going to argue to me that basic training is not about making your mind soft and malleable when it comes to taking direction from other people, then you're wrong. Relax. Shut up, bitch. I get fired up about whatever I want to. I'm a grown-ass man. I'm not telling you when to kick your fucking feet up, shitheel. People could unquestionably follow the teachings of Marx and Lenin. Sure. The military will break you down and build you back up. Right. So you're getting all these training, you're getting physically built up, but why? Why? So that you can be used as cannon fodder, so that they can order your physically fit ass who's trained to put your finger on the trigger and fire without a second thought when you're ordered to do so in the front line in front of a bunch of fucking bullets. Who can't understand the appeal of the military to a poor person? That's how the military sustains its ranks without, having a volunteer-only force. You got to keep a class of poor people that are desperate enough to get thrown in front of a wall of fucking insurgent bullets in a shitty Middle Eastern country that they've never cared about in exchange for their college being paid for. So you hate America? What a stupid fucking non sequitur, dude. I love it when people try and take the argument to that point. Because I'm critical of the military and I'm critical of America, it means I'm just an America hater. No, I think America has potential. And I think it squanders that potential on a lot of wrong-headed nonsense. So I don't carry America's water, but I don't hate the place. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, I mean, the gun argument has just gotten kind of silly now, and it's going to continue to be silly until people just will fucking admit that what we're doing is not working. The way we're handling things isn't working. We have a problem that is particular to us here in America, all right? And it involves guns and ease of access to guns. And it involves people that shouldn't have guns getting their hands on guns and killing innocent people who don't have guns in public places. All right? That's a very, very particular problem. Handguns, not just handguns. Sandy Hook was perpetrated with an assault rifle. You opened your DMs on Twitter. Are you actually reading everyone you get? Yes, I actually do read everyone I get. I don't respond to a lot of people because I'll be honest with you, like, I don't like initiating that kind of direct one-on-one contact anymore. I've kind of learned my lesson with that type of shit. The internet is just not a place where you can be open and friendly with random people. You have to just kind of have your guard up at all times, and I just don't like connecting with people that way. I find this is way more kind of rewarding for me because it maintains that kind of separation. Paranoid Paul, yep. That's true. I am a paranoid. I have a paranoid personality type. That is absolutely true. I will admit that about myself, for sure. I am prone to pretty extreme bouts of paranoia at times. I think I've talked about some of my devolving paranoia here. AR-15s are not assault rifles. So get out of here. Just argumentative gun fucking people. Technically, they're a sporting rifle. Okay, whatever. So what's the difference again? Semi-automatic, large magazine sized, high stopping power weapon. Technically, it's a hunting rifle. Yeah, you can shoot a semi-auto fast enough to kill a, kindergarten class pretty quick. Yeah, you're not going to be able to reap the destruction you could with a full auto gun. But this idea that semi-auto is somehow a limiting factor, man, I could only kill as many people as fast as I can pull the trigger, man. Totally limited, totally weak. What? If you get paranoid from smoking weed, you're smoking too much weed in one sitting, or you're just a person that's not psychologically like made up to smoke weed. Like there are just people, I'll be honest with you, I've run across them who just shouldn't be smoking weed. And it's because they get too paranoid. They have these panic attacks on it and shit. I used to, like back in the day, um in my 20s, I used to get these horrible panic attacks on weed. It's horrible. Like lockup panic attacks where I just felt like my heart was going to stop and it just, devolved into this horrible, like, personal hell where you're just quietly suffering in your own head. People that get like that when they smoke weed regularly should just not smoke weed. I wouldn't. Why did I keep smoking? Because it didn't happen all that often. And I actually took a long break from weed after my, well, like, from about 26 to, I don't know, 29, 30. I didn't smoke any hardly. I'll be right back. I got to take a leak. You guys stay where you are. Just stay where you are. Stay with me, but guys are moving. You can't be running around in there. I know you want to be in the house, but you just can't. You just can't do it right now. You gotta stay with me. You gotta stay with me. Yeah. Okay. Hey guys. You ever have a really sad? I guess I'm talking to dudes. I know there's a couple of chicks out there, but the dudes in the audience, you ever have a really satisfying piss? Like every piss is pretty satisfying, but I just had like one of those really great, super satisfying pisses where I wasn't like about to pee my pants. Like I wasn't desperate for a piss, but when I started peeing, it was just like, oh, had that little like extra amount of flow to it. That's really what makes the a piss super satisfying. Is when you get that little bit of extra fucking like pressure because your bladder's like a little extra full. So you get that real like super thick stream, you know what I mean? Super high pressure stream, and it's just like, oh man, whoo. Well, I didn't know. I didn't want to. Yeah. Okay. So you get that. All right. So I guess women can relate. I just had a real super satisfying pee, man. I love that. Paranoia can hold you back, but also benefit you. Yeah, I've definitely crossed over into the holding me back realm of paranoia multiple times. So I take it a little far. I take it a little. I'm not just healthily paranoid. I'm actually paranoid. Are there strains that don't make you paranoid? I don't get paranoid on weed, or at least it doesn't affect my natural levels of paranoia one way or the other anymore. But yeah, I really don't know. I mean, it differs for each person. I know that for me, it was probably indicas that used to cause my panic attacks because indicas have that real body high to them, and that's really what I would focus on when I was having these kind of paranoia fits or panic attacks. Like you'd feel that kind of like tingling in your chest, and I thought that that was a sign that I was having a heart attack. So I just sit there and think, oh my god, my heart's gonna fucking stop. Then you get all worked up, so your physiology, you're sweating, and you're just like, oh god, man, I want this to go away. I want this. It's horrible, dude. Yeah, I don't ever get that little like extra bit. You gotta push out that last bit of piss, man. You gotta make sure. You gotta give it a good shake. You gotta shake it, man. You gotta shake the wang. Cause yeah, if you're dribbling, but my dad had a little rhyme he used to tell, and I guess there is a little bit of truth to this. The rhyme goes, no matter how much you wiggle and dance, the last drop always ends up in your pants. And I find that to be, you know what I mean? Yeah, there you go. So yeah, Paul, have you ever thought of doing a solo podcast in addition to DFF, like maybe doing long form interview type of show? I think you'd be good at it. Not really. I'm not real interested in doing any kind of non collaborative content. I'm a collaborator by nature, and I was trained as a collaborative performer. So I just am not real interested in the solo joint. I like working with talented people. I like working with a cast that I can play off of. I like having that as a resource. So the solo shit, I mean, this is as close as I get to that. And even this is designed so that it can be joined at any moment by any number of personalities. So, my circle of friends all ate edibles before school started yesterday. Two of them got suspended because they couldn't handle that shit and freaked out, and the rest of us were chill. That's fucking lame. Like that. What a lame way to get fucking like in a time where kids literally like all of the negative of weed, right? All of the negatives of weed in terms of getting caught have now been removed for you people. When I was a kid, if you wanted to get high before school, you had to smoke weed. That means that there's a good chance that you're going into school, if you're not careful, smelling like weed. If you're doing weed in an area, people can smell it, so you got to take that into account. Now you guys can just eat a brownie and get fucked up all day, and you're still getting caught. I don't even know what to say about that, homie. I don't even know what to say about that, homie. Yikes. It's hard to hide if you have red eyes. See, we had that on fucking lock too. It's called Visine. Yeah, there's this crazy product that you can get for like 350 at a 7-Eleven, any fucking convenience store. Little bottle of Clear Eyes. Bloop, bloop. That was par for the fucking course. Every kid had it. Every stoner at my school had a little bottle of Visine in their backpack. Because when you smoke out before school or you leave campus to go smoke out in your car at lunch and you come back, you can't reek of weed and you can't have the fucking slammed out red eyes. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I mean, and it's so simple too. People that get caught smoking weed in high school are the dumbest of the dumb. And now that's more true than it ever was. More true than it ever was now because you guys have got so many options. Like, yeah, we could make edibles back in the day, but weed was way harder to come by back in the day. Like when I was a teenager, you didn't want to take your little baggie of weed and waste that shit on brownies, man. You wanted to smoke that shit up. Nowadays, though, with weed being like mass produced legally in a lot of these states, you guys got brownies, you got concentrates that leave any lingering smell. Like let's say you don't even want to do the edibles thing. Here's something that we totally didn't have. Concentrates, vapes, like all that shit, there was nothing like that. There was no way that anybody that I was around as a teenager had even conceived of shatter or wax. You know what I mean? Yeah, pills. Yeah, like they make like CBD oil pills and straight up THC pills now. I mean, you guys have got everything that you need to covertly be high all day at school, and you're still fucking up and getting caught. SMH, dog. Paul, there's a super chat that says Paul, as a teacher, wrongly punished students by taking their lunch money not to fix their behavior, but because he was hungry. Wow, dude. CBD doesn't really get you high, but I get what you're saying. Well, yeah, of course. CBD is not, I mean, it can augment a high if you take it in concert with THC. I got to experiment a lot with that when I lived in Washington, and I'm telling you, dude, you load up on CBD oil or take a couple of CBD capsules and then, rip a normal bong session, you're going to notice a little difference. Peels, peels, peels. What do you think of the stereotype that marijuana robs people of their motivation? Do you believe that there's any validity to it? I believe it can rob. I mean, like any substance that is psychoactive can rob people of their motivation, can make people. So, the stereotype of the stoner that's like doing absolutely nothing with their life, is not productive at all, and just sits around, smokes weed all day. Some people go to that extreme. I've seen burnout stoners that are just not interested. They're interested in exactly one thing, and that's doing whatever baseline thing that they have to do to keep a shitty apartment and to keep weed in their pipe. And whatever, I can't stand in judgment of their lifestyle, but it's certainly something that can happen, and that not just around weed, like any kind of drug. That happens a lot with alcohol as well. But and I'm not gonna sit here and claim that as a stoner that I don't, get stonery lazy sometimes and fuck off something that I should be doing. It happens, but it's not out of control in my life. I'm still able to produce the content that I need to produce and get things done in the ways that I need to get them done. And I think that most people, especially people that are daily, users, are in that boat. You kind of learn how to keep your shit together. Exactly. Well, I mean, yeah, weed helps with depression and anxiety. I mean, whoa, it's a cute girl with pink hair.
No.
What are you doing here, sexy?
I'm gonna leave.
Oh, okay.
To work.
Damn.
But then I will be back.
Okay.
Later.
Well, that's good.
Daddy.
I love you too. Have a good day at work.
I will try.
The chat loves you.
Love you too, Chad.
See? Where she works? She works at Starbucks. She a barista. She be bringing me coffee. Is that a smoke vape? Yeah, I think it is. Pretty sure it is. It's new. I got it for Christmas. You know who got me this for Christmas? Ashley's friend Krista. Mrs. Flap 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 herself got me this awesome new vape because she was tired of hearing horror stories about my old vape. I had like that old kind of bigger brick I had for fucking years, man, and it was such a trooper, but it was starting to die. It wasn't charging right, wasn't holding a charge for as long. It was just at the end of its life. And then, like an angel from heaven, dude, this vape appeared at Christmas, and I was like, oh man, this stream has been fucking long. Yeah, I guess it has, huh? 90 minutes. That's a pretty long stream. Probably be coming to an end rather shortly. Paul, did everyone smoke weed when you were in high school, or just a select stoner group? Nowadays, I feel like everyone does it no matter what their clique is. Yeah, it was a little more. I mean, there were definitely like. It was a lot of people doing it, so it wasn't just like the stoners. But there was definitely way more people that didn't partake, I think, back in my day. And that was just simply because of how hard it was to come by. You know, I mean, it wasn't super hard to come by where I was around, but you had to know people. You had to buy, you know. I think a lot of people were just turned off by the, you know, and then, you know, getting caught, the prospects of getting caught. There were quite a, nowadays it's so, I'm sure, especially in like legal states, it's so ubiquitous that, you know, every little group of people is doing it. I had like two groups of friends in high school, and one of them was a bunch of stoners, and one of them wasn't at all. Um, you know, my nerdier group of friends weren't really stoners at all, at least for most of high school. So it was definitely more cliquey. I'm a highly intelligent person who speaks 4 languages, has a degree from med school, and an IQ of 128. Holy shit, dude. Holy fuck, man. We got a badass over here, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody step back. All you intellectual pieces of fucking dog shit better lay on the floor. Mr. 128 is in the building. All you other dumb shits better get on the fucking ground and lay flat. Don't even look up at his towering intellect. Mr. 128 is up in this building, bitches. Are you a skinhead? Nope. If 100 people donate $2, Mr. Naughty Priest, his gap is filled. Oh, Mr. Naughty Priest is back. He came back the other night during a TJ stream. He's okay. Mr. Naughty Priest survived his breakup, as most of us do. Paul, have you checked out Hugo and Jake, the Bible Reloaded channel? Yeah, I like Hugo and Jake. They're not the Bible Reloaded anymore. They're just Hugo and Jake now. But I like them. It's a goddamn shame that like we weren't able to fucking get our shit together. But they've said that they'd come back on another episode. We just like it was one problem after the next getting them on the show, and we just realized that in the midst of this move, trying to make the changes that were needed to get that happening right was just kind of pointless. So once we get moved to the permanent new studio, I'd love to have those guys on the show. I think they'd be great on one of these list shows for sure. Why do I like them? They're funny dudes, and they've always been good to us. Like, you know, there was no hesitation, and they're cool. Like, they waited around for 45 minutes while we tried to fucking figure out our technical problems on our end. And you know, they were just really cool. They've always been that way. They've always been cool. You know, the behind the scenes shit is something that you always factor in this kind of business, and it's something that you guys, the fans, don't get to see. But I'm just telling you, dealing with those guys, they're just really nice, really willing to help out. Funny, quick-witted. They work good as a duo. You know what I mean? They're just good guests. They make a good gay couple. That's true too. Paul, you tired of the Chinese government dipping orphans in wax and selling them as dolls to the American public? What? Is that dude claiming a 128 actually had one? He'd be smart enough to know not to brag about it because no matter how smart you are, you truly don't know anything. Well, not only that, but IQ is not necessarily an indicator of intelligence across the board, so. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if you're a smart dude, congratulations, but you might want to quit bragging about it because it makes you look like a dumb dude trying to look like a smart dude, and that's not how a smart dude should act. I missed all the streams you did. Seems like you're doing less of them, I assume because of life getting busy. Yeah, I mean, it's just, we're moving. We're in the process of, once again, picking up tent stakes, packing everything up, putting it in a truck and moving it. I mean, at least this point, the move is much easier because it's just, it's local. So a dude called me an idiot, so I retorted. Well, maybe next time don't retort by throwing your IQ at him and your PhD. Retort by saying something smart and witty that a person with a 128 IQ would have over a dumbass in an argument. Just a little advice from somebody with a sub 128 IQ. I was in the second percentile in the U.S. in the IQ when you were a kid. Cool. There you go. I don't know what my IQ is, but I assume it's probably around the average. I think average IQ is something like 100, right? I'd probably somewhere in there, 100, 110, something like that. I think of myself as pretty average intellectually. You're a pretty intelligent guy. I don't know. I mean, I think that's just maybe in comparison to a lot of other people. I might be a little smarter than the average bear, but I don't consider myself any towering intellect. 98, yeah. So I'm probably somewhere in there, somewhere between 98 and 110, if I had to take a guess. 87 and a half. That's respectable, dude. Moving to the new house, the big tree in the back. Doesn't have the big tree. It's a different house. We weren't able to make that one work. But this one is all... You guys will see. I'm going to enjoy showing the new place to you guys. Because it's very secluded, which I really, really like. It's not in a neighborhood. It's got a big piece of property, big giant backyard, a lot of trees. Just not that big kind of centerpiece oak. That kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? But there's definitely some big beautiful trees out there. Big beautiful plot of land, very secluded, just out in the middle of kind of nowhere. Does it get the good internet? Yes, it gets the good internet. Can someone be really intelligent and also having a low-end IQ? And it depends on what aspect of intelligence you're examining, right? So IQ measures like spatial awareness and pattern recognition, right? So, and those things are all very foundational for higher level mathematics and stuff. So you're probably not going to get a mathematician with a low IQ, right? Because those kinds of skills are needed to function as a mathematician. But you might have a dude who's just an absolute virtuoso on an instrument, or an absolute virtuoso at building things or fixing things with his hands, who may not have that same pattern recognition and spatial awareness. Maybe is much more of a linear thinker, but that could pull off some pretty incredible feats of engineering and mechanics that a person with the 128, 130, 140 IQ guy couldn't even begin to pick up and touch. IQ correlates extremely well with success in a modern Western culture. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. People that, there's a lot of avenues to success for a person that is intelligent in this country. It is a way to kind of get yourself up out of the normal everyday average dregs of, entry-level labor jobs. And it's really the only way to do that, right? I missed a super chat. All right, let me go check. Let me go take a look. Let me take a look. Let's see. Let's see. My first super chat. I sort of like Philly D. Why don't y'all? I just, I don't know. I don't like him. I don't know what to tell you. I don't like his presentation. I don't like his malleability. I don't like how he finds himself on both sides of every issue so that he's never contentious. I don't like the bland, vanilla way that he presents drama and world events to people. I don't like the lens through which he shows me social events and political events. I'm just not a fan, man. What do you want? What do you want me to say? Guys, I like maths because of my IQ, my 195 IQ. There you go, man. Philly D tries to be fair. He takes it a little farther than trying to be fair. Philly D, very, very, by design, walks on both sides of every issue because that's the way you get the most views. So Philly D runs his entire channel and every opinion that he distributes on that channel through the lens of how can I get the most people on both sides of this issue to watch this video. That's not an opinion. That's just, scooting your taint along the fence. Philly D is only biased on pedophiles and that's it. Well, I mean, Philly D, like that's the one of the things that you can be biased about, right? Like pedophiles are at the bottom of the social ladder in Western culture. They're considered to be the lowest of the low. They don't matter anymore to most people, and what happens to them doesn't matter anymore to most people. Are you only moving the studio? No, we're moving house as well. Should you give up and die? I mean, that's not up to me to decide. I don't know the circumstances. I remember your videos about people right in the middle. Yeah, I mean, look, my ideas on that have certainly, like I was talking about the religious argument when it came to that, right? There are certain areas where being a centrist is totally fine, and kind of trying to take a little bit from both sides of an issue can be a very helpful thing. So I'm not a totally like I'm not against the middle ground. It's just when somebody takes the middle ground on every issue, that's a flag to me. So no more TJ randomly walking in and joining the stream. I mean, it happens all the time. It just hasn't happened on this stream. So what you're saying is you're against taint stimulation. Yeah, definitely. You ever want to talk to a genius? I'm right here with my 250 IQ. God fucking damn, homie. Total fucking genius. Paul, do you have introspective trips on LSD? I mean, I can. I have. It just depends. LSD is one of those ones that you're on the ride, not the other way around, So, but I have had introspective trips on LSD. See, those are insane numbers. I'm not genius with 128. Yeah, that's true. You're just a slightly smarter dumbass. Is TJ the tallest person you know? No. TJ is about the same height as my cousin James, and James is way bigger, like in terms of like just mass. So, well, actually, James might be a little shorter than TJ. Honestly, he might be the tallest person I know. I'm trying to. It's been a while since I've been in the room with James, but I'm thinking he's probably a couple. TJ might have a couple inches on him. James is just a huge dude, though. He's just like a gorilla. Who'd win in a fight? James. James is a correctional officer and was the shield man at fucking, what's that fucking prison in California? I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's been so long since I've lived there that like these names that used to be real. But anyway, he was at one of the most violent prisons in California as the shield man on the the infiltration team or whatever they call it. San Quentin, there it is. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So he's the first dude in. So if there's a guy in his cell refusing to come out, my cousin James was. He doesn't work at San Quentin anymore.
Paul's live.
But for, yeah, yes. But for years, James was the guy at San Quentin that held the shield that went in first when they had to, extract somebody from a cell. We were talking about whether or not you were the tallest person I knew, and I was trying to remember whether or not James, I think you've got a couple of inches on my cousin James.
But he's tougher.
But yeah, and they were like, well, who would win in a fight? And I was like, James.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pussy. James is
I mean, it's not even that TJ's a pussy. Like, TJ's a big dude, so automatically, like, if he lands a good solid punch on you, you're in trouble. But it's just James, like I said, he was the shield man at San Quentin, so
Yeah, I mean,
like he's got training.
Not even consider fucking with that guy.
Yeah. But
You're up early.
well, yeah, I got up because I thought I was gonna go to.
Oh, you were gonna go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Yeah, I was up at like 9:20. And
I remember talking about it a few days ago, but I figured you just forgot.
No, I knew. It's all right though. Everything worked out okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
I can take you by there a little later.
Yeah, that's fine. We can go sometime this weekend if you want and do what we were talking
I
about.
mean, we can go by later today if you want.
I'm fine with that.
They're kind of doing stuff over there now, getting their stuff out, but.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. We can go take a look at the place and kind of.
We can go down there tonight or something if you want.
Yeah, I'm down, dude. We'll definitely do that.
Yeah, I kind of did some preliminary looking around and shit. And
Cool.
seeing how it was gonna go. Well, I'll talk about it later.
Yeah. Well, I was talking a little bit with them about the new place and stuff. It's pretty cool.
What are you doing?
Probably do some Highdeologies in that big backyard, with that scenery behind me. It'll be
yeah.
kind of nice.
You don't have to worry about anything with neighbors there.
Oh, yeah, dude. We could just go out and fire machine guns in our backyard and nobody'd care. I know. It's awesome.
What are you doing? There's nothing in my pocket. Go on.
I imagine it's easy in one aspect for TJ to have a couple inches on anyone, but hard in another. Micro penis joke. I was talking a little earlier about people that don't like these like theoretical shows where you take fictional characters and you spend all this mental energy like investing in that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, if you don't like that, you probably don't want to watch the show because like that's one of my favorite fucking things in the world to do is to take these like fictional characters and put them in these hypotheticals.
The cool thing about Deep Fat Fried is that because we do so much stuff, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword because on one hand, there's stuff people like.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, double-edged sword.
A double-edged sword, dude.
That's a double-edged sword. Well, I mean, but I mean, if you don't like one episode, you might like the next one, so whatever.
Yeah.
So we just do a lot of different shit. We don't like sticking with one concept. It's not fucking stimulating for us. But no, I mean, I think a lot of people enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, dude. I love doing that type of shit.
A lot of people were honest because they're like, you don't know enough about the characters. It's like, whatever, dude. We're laymen doing things from a layman fucking perspective. I never claimed to be a fucking Batmanologist or something.
Yeah, dude. We're just like average dorky fans of these things, not digging like there's some things that I
was visualizing the shit in my head.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. I'm trying to consider like all the different aspects of the character and stuff. Like I know enough about these characters and their capabilities from watching their movies over and over again. I may not know all the fucking outside of film lore and shit. I may not be up to date on the non-canon backstory and
about Black Widow you guys just underestimate Black Widow, dude.
I think a lot of what people don't understand too is when we were doing this list, a lot of these dudes were bumped up in power level just due to our perception of them.
Right.
So it's like Mike Tyson shouldn't even have been on this list, but he was on the list because when I was a kid, Mike Tyson was the dude that could knock anybody out with one punch.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of doing the mythological Mike Tyson.
Right, and the same thing with a lot of these dudes. You know what I mean? Like, once again, like Ellen Ripley. Yeah, maybe in actuality, if you put her in a room with the fucking Black Widow, and they're both of these characters are totally real. Yeah, maybe the Black Widow wins that. But that's not really what we were doing.
Yeah, I mean,
It's more about our perceptions and the X factor of the area and how we perceive these characters through the lens of them being in combat with each other.
Yeah, and like the location factored big into it too.
Right.
You know, I think if you if you got Ellen and shit, I mean, we gave Ellen that gun to kind of like even the odds because she's not much of a hand-to-hand combat person.
She kind of has to have it, right?
Yeah, because otherwise, she's not really in the running. We wanted to kind of choose people that would at least be contenders for.
Yeah.
Every character that we picked, I think, if they'd gotten the right run of locations, could have fucking taken it. Maybe not Tyson, but
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe. Fuck. If we could come up with some scenario. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty satisfied with the result. I pretty much knew when we put Batman in there, I was pretty sure Batman was gonna win.
He's not even that he's more powerful, he's just more adaptable. Adaptability won the day.
It's just the fact that he's so skilled in so many different areas. Like, it's like he has the gadgets and shit, but he doesn't need them.
Right.
Like, he can fuck you up just on his own.
Like he won that hurricane thing hands down just because of the like he's so adaptable. Like that was the X factor in this.
And his utility belt has things for like every ridiculous situation.
And we've seen Batman in cold weather, you know what I mean, in hot weather, rain, sleet, snow. It doesn't matter to him, you know what I mean? He's so adaptable. He's good one-on-one in a close quarters thing. He's good in the kind of cat and mouse scenarios, you know what I mean? He's just a well-rounded, adaptable dude.
Add some more randomizations to it in the future.
Almost to the point where, like, thinking about it now,
like maybe he should have been.
He should have been because he did kick fucking Superman's ass at one point.
Yeah, I mean, like him and Superman have fought on several occasions. I mean, like he's a mortal human being who could fight Superman. I mean,
so maybe we kind of
he probably should have been.
He probably should have been. He probably should have been bumped into the tier where we'll put fucking like Gandalf and shit in retrospect because he got bumped off the list too for that same reason. Just the power level was a little too much.
Yeah.
But Batman, he seems more humble. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's kind of hard to tell where to put him. Because I mean, he can only compete with Superman if he's got some kryptonite and the supers in his like battle suit and all that shit.
Yeah. Well, fuck. This is about to die. Maybe TJ will start one of these, but I gotta end mine. So peace.